We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
You are listening to The Underground Marketing Conspiracy, a secret ritual where entrepreneurs acquire highly classified and confidential business knowledge that the top 1% of income earners don't want you to know. And now, your host, Maddie Milligan.
What is going on, my fellow conspirator and conspirators? Welcome to The Underground Marketing Conspiracy. Ooh. I just spent the entire day writing a guide. It's 22 pages long. I wrote it from scratch. So what I thought I would do, what would be helpful was, I know that one of the most important things that you can do to start building your email list and your customer database is to give something away for free in exchange for someone's email address, their name, their phone number. I always start with email, but I think having that freebie just gives a lot of goodwill as long as it's something that's good. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to list out all the steps. I actually created this document. I think it was based on an email that I sent to one of my clients where they just, for whatever reason, didn't want to do this. And then eventually they just asked me how much it would cost to write it for them. And I gave them a price and it was like, all right, sweet, do it. So I'm going to give you the steps that I've laid out here. It's actually not that much work. And I do this for people when they just procrastinate. And this is just going to save you a lot of time. A great book I would recommend first is this book, War of Art by Steven Pressfield, where he goes in depth about how you just need to sit down and do the work, like get outside of your head. The only way to actually get things done is just to sit down and do things. I think he calls it evoking the muse, where you think that you're not going to be creative and you're like, if I sit down, I don't know where to start. But once you actually just sit down and start working, all the ideas and all that creativity just starts to flow through you, right? It's like God almost takes over and just is inside of you, and he's putting the work out there through your own efforts. Same thing with these podcasts I found as well, where even right now I didn't want to do it, and the second I was about to go to sleep and I'm like, I didn't do it, right? And it's just about midnight right now, so it's 5 minutes to midnight, so let's just go through these really quickly. All right, so I titled this How to Choose and Create Your Perfect Funnel Freebie in Less Than a Day Without Hiring an Unreliable Ghostwriter. All right, so I actually originally created this because I remember 4 or 5 years ago, I tried to hire someone to it was probably three years ago, I think. I tried to hire someone to write a book for me, and it was the worst. It was such a bad experience just hiring them. I remember paying them like $100 something, and then they ghosted. So there was no communication after that. And then I remember finally when they did communicate with me via email, they're like, yeah, okay, cool. So let me know what you want. And I'm like, I did tell you what I want. What the heck? So they'd already missed the deadline. They didn't communicate with me throughout that week that they had, and they'd already missed the deadline. They didn't give me the milestones, but I was like, all right, cool. So you're going to give me an update after 2 or 3 days, and you're going to show me the table of contents and some things. And they're like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then even then, when they did actually be like, they tried to lie and be like, I was working on it. And they gave me something, and it was clearly plagiarized because I'm like, and I Googled it, and it was like the third choice down. Like, you'd think they could have at least gone to page 2 or 3 or 4, but they gave that to me. So I'm like, all right, dude, you know what? Just give me a refund. Like, I'll be on my way. So I just ended up writing it myself, and it's hard to find a good ghostwriter, and I don't think writing is that hard, but if you want to hire someone to do it for you, it does take a lot of creativity and a lot of skill to write, I believe, and it's not for everyone, but I'd recommend at least writing your first one, because that way you're going to have some idea. If you ever get a book written, and I have someone who's actually wants me to write a book for them, they want to pay me like $25,000 to write a book for them, and that for me just sounds like a lot of work, but it's something where what I'm going to do with them is I'm going to sit down with them, interview them for 2 or 3 hours, get them to ask them all the questions that I need, get the big idea out of them, and then kind of just put everything down and write it, create the table of contents, and just boom, it's done. So, so I really think though that like you just need to sit down and write it. First of all, I talk about it there, and again, I talk about it in this book, another quote from The War of Art by Steven Pressfield, where he says, someone was talking about to Somerset Maugham, which is a very famous writer, and someone asked Somerset Maugham if he wrote on a schedule or only when struck by inspiration, and he said, "I write when inspiration strikes. Fortunately, it strikes every morning at 9 o'clock sharp." So putting off writing your ebook, or your guide, or your cheat sheet, or checklist, or whatever free bait you want to give away, if it's a report or whatever you want to give away, you just need to decide that you're going to do it and be like, all right, I'm going to go that day and do it, right? Same way with me today. I'm like, all right, dude, you need to write a guide on sales funnels. Like, what is a sales funnel? That's the title of the book. So I'm like, all right, sit down, map out the table of contents, just start writing, and it'll do it. And it took me the entire day, and I took maybe a few breaks to go for a walk and have food today, and that was about it. But so here we go. Reason number one why you want to do this. Why you want to actually create it. 2 reasons why. When you are an expert and you actually know the subject and you give it away for free, it's going to make people look to you as an expert. And because you write it yourself, it's going to be higher quality than if you actually got someone to write it for you. So that's why I would recommend you actually do write this yourself. And when they do write it, they're going to be like, wow, this free stuff is really great. And their paid stuff must be even better if they gave me this free thing. So let's see how great their paid stuff is by buying it. So that's reason number 1 why I would recommend having a freebie and making sure it's really good. Reason number 2 is you could die tomorrow. I know this is pretty dark, but carpe diem, man. Seize the day, right? So now that you've agreed with me right now to be an action taker, I want you to stop procrastinating and decide on a date that you're just going to sit down one day and write your freebie, all right? It can be 10, 15, 20 pages long, but you're just going to sit down, choose that one day, and no matter what, you're going to do it. All right. So first step I would do is big idea brainstorming. This is when you do some research for the person that you really want to sell to, because you want to make sure that it's something your audience wants. In this Facebook group I created, the Overdogs group, which you can actually join for free by visiting overdogs.group. Quick plug right there. A lot of people are like, what's a funnel? What's a funnel? Like, what's copywriting? What's a funnel? So I'm like, all right, funnel is the first thing. Like, I know everyone needs a funnel. It's one of the most important things, and so many people asked it to me. So I'm like, all right, just create this freebie. And then I'm in the process too of making a copywriting course for everyone in my group as well. And eventually I'm going to sell all this stuff. But for now, I'm just like, all right, funnel guide is the free thing for my group. Cool. I've already given them way too much value as it is, but I'm going to give this awesome guide to only people as long as they're in my group, which you can join at overdogs.group. All right, so I use this one tool called Funnel Scripts. Very great tool. If you go to mattymilligan.com/resources, you can also get that there. It's a tool called Funnel Scripts. I use this specific wizard they have called the Niche and Offer Detective. You can also use Google Keyword Finder, SpyFu, BuzzSumo, Facebook Audience Insights, SimilarWeb. There's also Quora.com is good. Reddit's really good for finding this stuff. So this is where you're going to spend most of your time, and you really need to decide on what the idea is and what the title of your book's going to be. So that's step number 1, brainstorming the big idea and then coming up with it. Step number 2 is, once you have the big idea, put it on page 1. Page number 2, table of contents. So you're going to write out your table of contents, and you're kind of just going to map out what it is. It'll probably change throughout the whole process, but that's what I would do. Then I take a little bit of a break for about 10-15 minutes. Then I start again. Then I write the conclusion, because I actually start with the end in mind, what my call to action is going to be at the end of that book. All right. So then I take another break. Then I write the introduction, so the beginning, and I'm like, all right, cool. How am I going to start this out? What am I going to talk about? I'm going to introduce myself, really just give the main thesis for this thing, and then we're going to go from there. And then once the introduction's done, you guys know what I do? I take another break. And then once I get back from that break, I'm going to write probably a quarter of the book at that point. And then I'm going to take another break. Then I'm going to write another quarter. Then I'm going to take another break. And then I'm going to write another quarter. Then I'm going to take another break and then write another quarter. Then at that point, after all of that, I probably have most of the book written, right? Then what I'm simply going to do is I'm going to proofread everything, make some edits, proofread it again, read it a few more times. And then from there, I'm going to do 2 things. Now I have the book all written like I do right now. So what I did in the past was, for my other book, Conversion Rate Killers, I copied everything into Google Slides, created the cover myself, and then added the header and the footer, and added all the customization within the book. and then, yeah, design the cover, I think, in Canva or Photoshop. I think it was one of the other. Canva has a lot of them. What I'm going to do this time is, though, I'm actually going to outsource it to someone else very inexpensively. There's also this tool someone else suggested called Designer with 2 R's on the end, designer.com. And I think it's $27, and you can create, they actually have, I don't even know if this is legal, but apparently you can just take any article from the internet, put it in there, and then it just creates an ebook for you very quickly, and it's just within 2 minutes. So that might be something I might do as well, but I'm way too tired to decide today, so I'm just going to leave it till tomorrow. And yeah, once that's done, you add the cover, you add the slides as a PDF if you're doing it yourself, and then you download it, right, as a PDF specifically. And then if you're using ClickFunnels like I do, you add it to the assets section, and then you're essentially done, right? So that's what I do. Oh yeah, and then I have these 3D mockups that I use as well in Photoshop. So you just take the cover and then the spine image and then create the 3D mockup in there, add a little bit of outer glow, maybe a little bit of undershadow or outer shadow, and then boom, you basically have your ebook written. You have your 3D mockup. You can go into ClickFunnels, create a landing page like I'm going to do, add all of your copy describing the benefits that people are going to get. I recommend keeping it very simple. Nothing where last time I had it so people could scroll down and learn more, but this time I'm just going to keep it very simple, like 3 simple bullet points with 3 benefits, quick headline as well, where it's like claim your free awesome guide or whatever. I'm going to come up with the copy. I'm too tired to think of the copy right now, and then all I'm going to ask for that first page is the email address of someone. And then from there, I'm going to essentially send them to an affiliate offer. Because once they figure out that they need a funnel, they know they need a funnel, they're going to be like, okay, how do I build it next? So from there, I'm going to put people into the One Funnel Away Challenge, where I'm giving away all sorts of bonuses for that, which is a $100 offer. And you can get all this $3,100 worth of stuff for $100. Plus I'm going to include almost $1,500 of my own stuff included with that bonus offer. It's like an onboarding call with me for half an hour. The same template that I use for the funnel. So the page that they're on, the bridge page or the squeeze page, I'm going to give that to you as well. And then I think on top of that, I have this checklist of all the steps you need to follow in the funnel. And then I think there was a 4th thing, but I might even end up I might change the video and the offer and include this course that I have from someone else where it's just all these white labeled videos that I can use for ClickFunnels, but I don't quite remember the other thing that I had for that. But honestly, the 4 things that I included have a lot of value. So either way, for $100, I mean, after they get the book, they're going to be like, all right, I'm going to take this because that way I can build the funnel in 30 days. And if they can't, they can always hire me to do it. So that's kind of how I'm mapping out and restructure everything to really just get leads. And then from there, I'll probably just give it to my group of people. Even then, I might even try running some paid ads. We'll see really what happens. But yeah, that's kind of my goal, with this funnel, and then create some other pages as well, write the email sequence. But yeah, for that book, those are really the steps that I would follow to creating that. So yeah, go ahead and do that. If you have a team, they can obviously save you lots of time if you can just get them to write it. But I really think you should at least come up with minimum the table of contents, or get someone on your team to interview you, and then they can just transcribe everything and come up with an awesome book just for you. And yeah, if you listen to this point, really appreciate that. And as always, if you did enjoy this episode of the Underground Marketing Conspiracy, I want you to consider subscribing, listening to some additional episodes, maybe sharing this with a friend, emailing questions to undergroundmarketingconspiracy@gmail.com. My name is Matty Milligan. You can find out more about me by visiting mattymilligan.com, or you can join my free Facebook group at overdogs.group. And I will see you next time on another episode of the Underground Marketing Conspiracy. Woo!